Good morning, everyone. Sorry for everybody expecting Mad Men of Magic today, but Kaldheim just released, so what we're going to do is we are going... Oh, crap, which day is this going up on? Anyway, doesn't matter. We're doing some Kaldheim Limited. We're going to start with a sealed pool. The next video will probably be draft. I'm going in relatively blind. I'm aware of the cards, but not really aware of the strategy, so if you know anything about me... does it matter which one I do? Probably not. Alright. So let's do a competitive sealed pool and see what happens. Alright, well, I see we got a Planeswalker. Let's go ahead and sort by rarity and take a look at what we've got. We got two Planeswalkers. We got we got Nico Eris, which is the Azorius Planeswalker. We've got Toralf, God of Fury, which is everything you control has trample, and it's an equipment. And then we got Tyvar Kell, which is elves you control have tap, add black mana. You can make elf warriors for free. You can untap your elves, give them death touch. Wow. You have an alt that basically wins you the game. Let's see, in our rare slot we have Toski, Bearer of Secrets. 4 mana 1/1, can't be countered, indestructible, attacks each combat if able. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That seems interesting. We also have Righteous Valkyrie, which is a big, tough flyer that grants all of your creatures +2/+2 if you have more life total than your starting life total. 7 more life. We also have Doomscar, which is the White Wrath, and Crippling Fear, which is choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3. So potentially a one-sided Wrath if you are all one creature type. Plus there are changelings. So we have Herald, King of Skemfar. 3 mana 3/2. Enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an elf, warrior, or Tyvar card from among them and put it into your hand. Ooh, so we might have the makings of a pretty sick elf deck, depending. Let's see, how many elves do we have? Search elf. We have 3 Elderleaf Mentors, which are 4 mana 3/2 elves that make more elves. We don't actually have that many elves. But I mean, it's probably enough to consider making. Okay, now we're going to sort by color now that we've gone through the rares. I know we have a number of like multiple color, or not rarity, I want to see color here. Let's see which colors are our deepest colors here. So black and green appear to be our deepest colors. So because this is my first sealed pool, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take a whack at making a few different decks, and we'll see what comes out the other side. So we have a land that we're going to play in basically any deck, other than like if we were to try and build a super fast aggro deck. We have a good like control Azorius land. Alright. So the first thing that we're going to try and build, I guess, is elves. So Tyvar Kell, Toski is definitely going in that deck. Elven Bow, when there's a battlefield you may pay 2 if you do make an elf. Okay. Finn the Fangbearer, whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Well, some of the elves have Death Touch. Tyvar Kell can give them Death Touch. Guardian Gladewalker as Changeling, which is actually just an elf. Path to the World Tree. Enters the battlefield, search your library for basic land, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. If you have all 5 colors, you can do a whole bunch of shenanigans. Probably not that one. Mill 3 cards, then return a land card or an elf card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, draw a card. That seems playable in Limited. Glittering Frost. Enchant land. It is snow. Whenever it's tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. We may need that for fixing, depending. Knotvine Recluse is a 3 mana 4/2 with reach. That seems reasonable. King Harold's Revenge. Let's see, until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1, and each creature you control, for each creature you control and gains trample, it must be blocked this turn. If we're going wide, I kind of want to play that. Elderleaf Mentor seems good. Sorulf's Packmate is a wolf with Foretell, so we can get it undercosted and it draws a card. Seems reasonable. Struggle for Skemfar. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights up to 1 creature you don't control. And it can be foretold and then cast for 1 mana. Seems good. And Ravenous Lindworm is a 6 mana 6/6 that gains us life. Okay. So now let's look at the black cards that we have that might synergize with our current list. So 1 mana elf seems good. Way Down. As an additional cost to cast the spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard. A creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Seems like good removal. We have an elf berserker. Seems reasonable. Draugr Helm. Let's see. Enters the battlefield, may pay 3 if you do make a zombie. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has menace. Maybe. We'll see. Elderfang Disciple is an elf cleric. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. Cheap elf, probably going to play it. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow lands you control. Well, we have some snow lands, but I don't know if we have that many. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or return 2 creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. That actually might be playable, because we're kind of trying to be an elf deck. Zombie Berserker, Infernal Pet, Poison the Cup, 3 mana Murder, with potential upside, seems good. Dogged Pursuit, at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Probably not. Jarl of the Forsaken, with Flash, enters the battlefield, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. That card seems playable. I can put this into like the maybe pile, because it is a potential combat trick. You know, it can do damage, it can be foretold to get a little bit of an advantage. Crippling Fear seems good. Feed the Serpent just seems like premium removal. Karfell Kennelmaster, Zombie Berserker, enters the battlefield. 2 target creatures get +1/+0 and gain Indestructible. Seems good. And then Tergrid Shadow, which is each player sacrifices 2 creatures. I actually really like this card, but I don't know if this is going to be the deck for it. So we're really heavy in the 4-drop slot. And I think what that means is we would definitely play like a Replicating Ring to help kind of get up to the threshold for casting some of our bigger spells. Do I have any cards outside this with Changeling? Lityara Kinseekers. Enters battlefield if you control 3 or more creatures that share a creature type, put a 1/1 counter on it, and then scry 1. Okay, I probably wouldn't splash for that. Ascent of the Worthy. Choose a creature you control. Till your next turn, all damage that would be dealt to creatures is dealt to that creature instead. The flying counter on it, okay. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, if a giant, wizard, or spell you control dealt damage to it this turn, draw a card. That seems kind of cool. Arnie slays the troll. Target creature you control fights up to 1 you don't control. Add red, put 2/1/1 counters, gain life, okay. 3 seasons, mill 3 cards, return up to 2 target snow permanents, then shuffle cards back in. That doesn't seem very good. And then we have Scorn Effigy, which can be foretold for 0. Pretty cool snowlands this time around, and well, I guess there's no reason not to play them. So let's go ahead. I don't think we're going to be splashing any colors outside of this. Hang on, I shouldn't say that. We should check white, because we have a lot of fixing for white. So if we have any particularly good white cards, we should be playing them. Bound in Gold is kind of premium removal. Iron Verdict. Righteous Valkyrie. Though we wouldn't have any... Doomscar would not be splashable. And then God's Hall Guardian would not be really playable. So we have other playable cards inside of our colors that we're not currently going to be playing. And not really anything we want to splash. So let's go ahead and add basic lands and see what that looks like. This is saying 8 and 8. So I can replace a forest with the Elder Hall, a forest with a snow-covered forest, a swamp with a snow-covered swamp. Shimmerdrift Vale can be a land of any color. Alright, so we have more double black than double green. So I think what that means is we drop a forest for Shimmerdrift Vale. Because we need to make sure that we can hit black mana. Okay, so this would be deck number 1. Let's check, because we do have a Planeswalker here, let's check the Planeswalker and this other card because they're potentially build-arounds, and we'll see what we come up with. So, up to one target creature you control can't be blocked. Whenever it deals damage, return it to its owner's hand. That's weird, but okay. Deals 2 damage to a tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn, and you can make a shard. You can just play this guy, well, this person as a... I have to forget. I forgot that they're supposed to be non-binary. So I'll do my best to respect that when talking about it. Let's see, so you can make X shard tokens, which are just strictly better clues for each extra mana you dump into this Planeswalker. Okay. So we have Bind the Monster, which is the blue Swords to Plowshares. We have Brine Barrow Intruder, Rune of Flight, card that should have been white, 2 of them. Augury Raven, Frost Peak Yeti. So nothing real insane in blue, but we have a lot of good like blue-white control tools. So maybe we should build like a blue-white control deck just to see what it looks like. And then we have Emberstern Raider, Shackles of Treachery, Smashing Success, Toralf. And we don't really have a lot of support for other stuff, so I think if I'm building a second deck, it would definitely be the like blue-white control deck. I don't think we're gonna do Oxplow. I could build an Oxplow deck for a meme. With Bound in Gold, Iron Verdict, Righteous Valkyrie, Master Skald, exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, return an artifact or enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. So definitely be a Doomscar deck. Probably a God's Hall Guardian. Then the blue cards, we would definitely play Bind the Monster. Rune of Flight is a good cantrip. Thought Thief, look at the top card of target player's library. You can put it in the grave if you want. Raven Form seems good as removal. Augury Raven seems good. Run Ashore. It seems like a good combat trick, even though it's really expensive. We have a 6-mana 5/6 with Flash. So, I think because we're trying to be a control deck, maybe we actually do play Oxplow. We'll play Replicating Ring. What does this card do again? Return another aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a temporary buff that you can exile from the battlefield to get back your Bound in Gold. I could also splash black for this card, which would let me reanimate like big dudes. We only have 8 creatures in this deck though, and our Planeswalker is not like an end-the-game Planeswalker. I actually don't think this Planeswalker card's very good. The more I look at it, the less that I like it. Because it doesn't have an ult that wins the game. Like, and it's a big card advantage spell, but like it's so mana intensive. I feel like they did not do this Planeswalker justice. All right, we're gonna stick with the elf deck. Just save and continue. We're not gonna mess around with that deck anymore. We're just gonna play elves. All right, 15 minutes into the video. Let's see if we can queue up for round 1 and see if anybody else is in the queue. All right. Round 1, here we go. I only got a 1-drop, a 2-drop, and a 3-drop, so I think I'm going to keep this hand. When it starts, Alpine Meadow. Man, these lands are really pretty. We draw Feed the Serpent, play Duskwielder, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a forest, red-green. So they play in the Trolls. Foretold card number entered exile zone. Foretold card number 1. We draw Roots of Wisdom, play a forest, play Elderfang Disciple, make our opponent discard. They discard a plains, go to combat, attack for 1. So next turn we will be playing Replicating Ring. Opponent plays a Woodland Chasm. You know, I wonder if this is going to be a format that is just dominated by play as many colors as possible. I hope not, but that would be funny. Okay, so play a Swamp. play Replicating Ring, go to combat, attack, and then boast. Haha! We attacked you. That was my boast. That was my terrible boast. Hit them for 2. So next turn we can play Elderleaf Mentor or play Feed the Serpent. My opponent plays Skemfar Elderhall, which requires them to have 6 mana to activate. Okay. Replicating Ring. We untap and draw. Raise the Draugr. Play a Forest. And we're going to attack first before I cast Elderfang or Elderleaf Mentor. Let's go ahead and boast right now. I like that you can do these like during combat. I think that's fun. So my opponent is casting a spell that doesn't have the mana. So we hit our opponent for 2, play Elderleaf Mentor, then pass the turn, making another elf. I mean, like, we're in, like, ideal aggro circumstances. We've played a spell every single turn. My opponent plays Path to the World Tree, getting a swamp. They play a swamp. They play a Vengeful Reaper, but do not attack. Okay. Counter on Replicating Ring. We draw Finn the Fangbearer. If I can get a land, Roots of Wisdom would be great. We're playing 16 land, I think. I'm gonna try it. We don't need a guaranteed color of any kind. Okay, take a swamp. Play a swamp. And then feed the Vengeful Reaper to the Serpent. Feed him to the Servant! Jeeves, get in here! I have cannibalism for you. What is wrong with me? Hit them down to 7 past the turn. Opponent plays Starnheim Unleashed, getting 2 4/4 Flying Vigilance Angels. We draw Shimmerdrift Veil. So, let's see. We are going to go to combat, attack with everybody, see how our opponent blocks. They block the 3/2. And they block the 1/2. So we'll go ahead and boast. We lose those 2 creatures. My opponent takes 2. Goes down to 4. Then we raise the Draugr, picking up both of these cards. Shimmerdrift Veil, name green. Oh, no, not that one. Play Duskwielder, and play Finn the Fangbearer. Pass the turn. Starnheim Unleashed is a pretty good payoff for ramping and going pretty deep. I don't think we have any ways to cause direct life loss other than the 1/2, but Skemfar Shadowsage, you gain X life, opponent gains 2. So we need to draw one of our payoff cards. Opponent foretells another card. They attack. There's no reason for us to not get attacked for 8 here. They have Vigilance, so that's a mistake. We have nothing with Reach and we're completely tapped out. Get hit for 4, go to 19, opponent missed 4 damage. We untap, Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw a second Elderleaf Mentor. Play Elderleaf Mentor. So if I attack now, I can make them lose a life. They'll block 3 creatures, which would probably be here, here, and here. And they would take 1, and my opponent would take poison damage. I think we just have to wait. Kind of sucks, but nothing I can do about it at the moment. Okay. Opponent untaps. They do have mana to activate Skemfar Elderhall now. Does it require them to... Nope, they have to activate it when they can activate a sorcery. Alright, we take 8, go to 11. Opponent does attack with both this time. They probably use the Elderhall to kill Elderleaf Mentor. Yep, that's exactly what happened. We untap, Replicating Ring taking up to 5. We draw a Death Knell Berserker, which doesn't do anything. Well, play out our hand. I think we're just losing to our opponent's Mythic Rare, which is totally fine. Like, I'm gonna attack with Finn the Fangbearer, because sometimes that just happens, right? Even though we had a pretty good aggro hand. Okay, we're going to kill the Skemfar Shadowsage this way. Pass the turn. And in theory, makes it easier to swing past their guys next turn. Opponent plays a Ravenous Lindworm. Well, they've stabilized. So we take 8 and go to 3. We should have actually been dead on that attack, but because our opponent missed 4 damage, we get 1 more turn. Let's see if it makes a difference. It does not. Okay. So now do we have any sideboard? Do we have any plummets or similar effects that we want to bring in? We have Reach. We probably should be playing the 3-mana 4/2 Reach Spiders. We could also play like Tegrid's Shadow. So I think I'm going to drop the Packmate to play the Recluse. And at least one. And maybe I drop Jarl of the Forsaken for the other one, but I like the fact that it has Foretell, so I think I'm just going to run it back. Alright, we'll play first. So we have a hand with all of our removal and none of our aggro. I mean, it's not terrible. We can put Shimmerdrift Veil on green, Foretell Poison the Cup, Roots of Wisdom. I want a mulligan. We have a Planeswalker in this deck. We should just draw the Planeswalker and win, right? Okay, I like this hand. I will keep this hand. We only have 1 double green spell, so we put Shimmerdrift Veil on black. I think what we're going to do is put back Feed the Serpent. Play Shimmerdrift Veil, name black. Pass the turn. I think this card is really strong, especially because Into the North exists. So we're going to upgrade Battle of Wits a lot. We untap, draw Swamp. So play a Forest. We will Foretell, struggle for some Skemfar, pass the turn. Opponent plays Skemfar Elderhall. We untap. We draw Notvold Recluse, which is great because we needed a spell to cast this turn. Maybe I should just be playing these because it is a 3-mana 4-power creature. That does seem pretty good. And it does have a relevant keyword. So if my opponent doesn't play a creature here, we play Toski and just attack to draw a card. Wither Crown. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life unless you sacrifice this creature. We don't need it. We're going to sack it. Can't be countered, indestructible. It's not like it has haste, though. So what we're going to do is play the Swamp and then play Elderleaf Mentor. Because potentially this is the highest payoff. If we play Toski next turn, we can start drawing extra cards. And drawing extra cards is a good way to win Magic games. So I've heard. Opponent plays a Plains. Opponent plays Skemfar Shadow Sage. They gain 1 life. Okay. We can use King Harold's Revenge as a way to put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Fights up to 1 creature you don't control. Several good options. I think we just play Toski. And pass the turn. We have a Murder and a Fight and like a Revenge of the Hunted effect we can all do next turn to just clear the way and then reload our hand. The only way we're going to get absolutely blown out here is if my opponent has like a Doomscar or a the -3/-3 Wrath. That would suck. Opponent plays Path to the World Tree. Okay, we untap. We draw Finn the Fangbearer. So let's poison the cup. We don't have to foretell it. Demonic Gifts gains +2/+0, and when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Okay. Opponent gets back their Skemfar Shadow Sage. Gain X life. So they gain 1. Alright, we go to combat. We will attack with Toski and the Elf Warrior. Then what we'll do is we'll have the Elderleaf Mentor fight and finish off the Skemfar Shadow Sage. We lose the Elf Warrior here, but that's okay. Opponent takes 1. We get to draw a card. Alright, we draw a Swamp. So this actually changes my plan. So I'm going to play Finn the Fangbearer. Pass the turn. Because King Harold's Revenge on Finn the Fangbearer is absolutely insane. Giving a creature 1/1 and trample must be blocked. And it already has Death Touch, so it can kill up to X creatures where X is its power. I'm going to try using the fight spell here pre-combat so I can swing in and draw a bunch of cards. We untap. Draw Forest. Struggle for Skemfar. We'll say Finn fights Skemfar Shadow Sage. Another Demonic Gifts. Okay. That sucks. Alright, well. King Harold's Revenge. Hopefully this works, and my opponent doesn't have another removal spell. So my opponent has to block, they lose the Shadow Sage. We get to draw a card. It's another land. Man, just being a 4-mana indestructible 1/1 that gives all of your creatures Keen Sense is pretty good. Opponent plays a land. They should probably use Elder Hall to kill Toski here, because we were drawing so many cards. And I should have started off with King Harold's Revenge. I shouldn't have done the fight spell. I just didn't anticipate them to have 2 demonic gifts. I mean, I didn't even really anticipate the first one, but... Alright, play the Elder Hall. Pass the turn. If I do draw my Raise the Draugr, I probably would get back Toski, because the effect is just so strong. Opponent plays a land. They play a Boreal Outrider. They played a Boreal Outrider without using snow mana? That seems incorrect. Arachnoform. Creature gets +2/+2, has reach, and is every creature type. Okay, we draw Herald, King of Skemfar. So, play Herald. Look at the top 5 cards of our library. My opponent only has 1 card in hand, so I'm interested in taking the Elderfang Disciple and forcing them to discard. So we're going to do that. Make them discard. It was an Infernal Pet. Alright, pass the turn. Well, we know that our Planeswalker is not in the bottom third of our deck, approximately. So, I mean, it's closer to a fourth. Bottom fourth of our deck. Alright, we untap. We draw Duskwielder. No good targets for Skemfar Elder Hall, so we'll just play Duskwielder for now. Pass the turn. I could kill a 1/1 with it, but I'm not going to. No attacks. If I can get Raise the Draugr and get back Toski, we'll probably just like set up a big board and then go wide and try and draw a bunch. Okay, opponent plays a Jaspera Sentinel, which is a 1-mana 1/2 with reach that can tap an untapped creature to add 1 mana of any color. We untap. Draw another forest. Oh, whenever you cast a creature spell. Oh, wow, that's way better than I thought it was. Huh. So unless my opponent plays an X1, as long as they have Boreal Outrider, we can't actually Skemfar Elder Hall any of their creatures. Alright, pass the turn. Got some big threats we can draw, hopefully to swing the tide in our favor. Opponent plays a land. Furia, Judge of Valor. Flying Lifelink, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards. Oh, we need removal. Like now. Okay, Raise the Draugr is not removal. Not Vold Recluse does not do enough. So pick up Toski. And we will activate Skemfar Elder Hall to kill an Elf Warrior. Try and go as wide as we possibly can for Toski next turn. Pass the turn. I should have waited on that Raise the Draugr, I think. Hopefully my opponent doesn't get to where they can cast multiple spells a turn. Okay, we get hit for 3. They gain 3. We untap. We draw an Elven Bow. Which we could attach to, like, Herald, I guess, if we wanted to, but play out Toski. Like this. Go to combat. As long as our opponent doesn't have instant speed removal that can kill Toski, like a Feed the Serpent, we should end up drawing a lot of cards here. Hopefully one of them will be removal we can use on that Angel. Alright, opponent kills our 1/2, kills our 3/2, then blocks a 1/1. So we're going to draw 3 cards here. Nope. They have something they're casting. Red, white. Oh, they can activate Path. Draw 2 cards, gain 2 life, loses 2 life, 2 damage to a creature, and you make a bear. Okay. That's pretty good. I guess if you have the lands to splash this, maybe doing that's not such a bad idea. They kill the Menace guy, so we're actually only going to draw 2 cards here. Okay. We draw Jarl of the Forsaken and Crippling Fear. Snow creature, all types. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is probably Jarl of the Forsaken to kill that Outrider, because it's upgrading all of their creatures. Just do this on the damage step, because why not? We can't Crippling Fear to kill that Outrider, so pass the turn. We also can't Crippling Fear without killing Toski, unless we want to get rid of our entire remaining board. Wow, okay, so we're going to have to Crippling Fear to kill this. Opponent plays a Horizon Seeker. I might just Crippling Fear naming Squirrel, because that's looking like my only option right now. Man, what is the panic spread like wildfire as the demons of Immersturm poured into Brenegard? So the flavor of this is everyone runs in fear and dies of fear of the squirrel. Yep. That sounds about right. So we untap. Let's see what we draw. Feed the Serpent. Alright, let's do the only thing we came here to do. Hang on a minute. Is there any reason to not attack first? I could Feed the Serpent, killing the Judge. Then we would draw at least 2 cards, and we could kill everything else, I think. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Because Toski is indestructible anyway. So go to combat. This way we're just guaranteed to draw 2 cards. Okay. Opponent kills a 1-1, kills a 1-1. Perfect. They take 4, we draw 2. Okay. Go to our second main, and then Crippling Fear. Squirrel. Nice. Play a swamp. Pass the turn. That was pretty good. Alright. Opponent untaps. Oh no. I am in regret of my current situation. We draw way down. So I can kill one angel and survive if they block. But we've used both of our Feed the Serpents, Poison the Cup. We've used like all of our removal. So our opponent either lets us draw here or they block. We weigh down to kill the angel, survive 1 turn, and then probably die. We'll exile Finn the Fangbearer, play Elven Bow, and then pay 2 to have it be equipped to an elf. Pass the turn. Losing to Starnheim Unleashed. And the worst part is, our Wrath doesn't even touch those tokens. So that card might just be unbeatable for this deck. We also dug through our entire deck. There's only 7 cards left on top of the deck that we haven't seen, and we did not get our Angel, or not our Angel, our Planeswalker, which is very disappointing. I don't think he would have done anything, but... Okay, we untap, we draw. Tyvar Kell. Yeah, nope. He doesn't do anything here. Scoop it up! Alright, well, I will see you guys in round 2. Alrighty, round 2, here we go. I would love to play first. This hand is slow, which probably means I should mulligan because I don't even have all the colors of mana I need. This I can work with. We'll keep. Put back the Jarl. Then we'll start Duskwielder into Guardian Gladewalker. So start Duskwielder, pass the turn. Opponent starts Snowfield Sinkhole. We draw Death Knell Berserker. So we're going to play Death Knell Berserker. Go to combat, hit them for 1. This is 1 less damage over time, but this is a good place to put a 1/1 counter. Okay, opponent plays a Elvish War Master. Whenever 1 or more elves enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf. This ability only triggers once each turn. Elves you control gain +2/+2 and Death Touch. That seems pretty good. Draw Forest. Play Guardian Gladewalker. Pump up the Death Knell Berserker. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Pass the turn. Opponent is going to make us discard. So we're going to discard, I think, Elderleaf Mentor here. Opponent gets an elf in addition. We untap. We draw a Roots of Wisdom. Play Roots of Wisdom because we desperately need a land. Pick up a Snow Swamp. Play the Swamp and Foretell. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Opponent will only be able to block with some configuration, including the War Master, which they're not willing to give up. So pass the turn. Alright, opponent misses a land drop, is unable to play a card. We draw Herald. Play Herald. Herald, we're going to go looking for anything. We whiff completely. So we'll foretell, have Herald kill the War Master. Opponent demonic gifts. So unfortunately, Herald's gonna die here. Opponent gets Elvish War Master back. Go to combat. Attack for 3. That's really unfortunate, and this card seems to be really good in this format. I'm glad they didn't go with the 1-mana version of this, printing it in this format, because it seems really strong. Okay, opponent hits their 3rd land. We untap. We draw Feed the Serpent, so go to combat. Attack for 3. Opponent chumps, that's fine. Okay, pass to our opponent. They untap. They play a land. Opponent foretells a card, and then is going to weigh down Death Knell Berserker. Okay, well, feed the War Master to the Serpent. Death Knell Berserker dies. We don't... Oh, its power wasn't 3 or greater because its power got modified by that. I was like, what? We don't get a thing? Lame. Okay, go to combat. Attack for 1. Boast. Opponent takes the damage. They're down to 8. Opponent fights the Duskwielder. Okay. We untap. We draw Toski. Play Toski. Now we can name Squirrel and keep both of our creatures. Pass the turn, run in fear of the squirrels. Oh, yes. Extra value. Draw an Elderleaf Mentor. Cast Crippling Fear. Name Squirrel. The elves run in fear from the squirrels. The fact that we've done this twice. Oh, it's getting to me right now. Turn off auto yields. Attack. Draw 2 cards. Opponent goes to 6. I mean, unless they have an instant speed 1-mana spell in black or white. Alright. Yep, we'll just draw a card. Feed the Serpent and a Forest. Play the Forest. Pass the turn. Now if my opponent goes tall on a Ravenous Lindworm, we could kill it. Opponent weighs down Toski. Sad. Toski drowned in the lake. We draw Shimmerdrift Veil, so go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent goes to 5. Play Elderleaf Mentor. Make an Elf Warrior. I'm going to hold on to Shimmerdrift Veil because my opponent is playing the 2-mana 1/1 Elf that can force us to discard, so they might have a second one. I don't know how likely that is, but it is possible. Cool. So we are against a similar deck to our own here. Is there anything... I probably should be playing this Path to the World Tree because we do have green, blue, green, white, and a white-black land. And we could splash off of, the Glittering Frost. What did I take? I took out Serolf's Packmate for... I actually think this card is good. It draws a card. It's just good, right? Alright. Run it back. I don't think we're going to make any adjustments. We're so heavy in the 4-drop slot, though. It's just kind of the only bad thing about this deck. Okay. So we'll start Shimmerdrift Veil on green. Death Knell Berserker is not as good as it was because their main removal is the -3/-3 spell Way Down, the one that I'm holding right now, and should have just been able to look down and reference the name of and not sit there awkwardly while I was trying to think of what the heck I was supposed to be saying. Play a Swamp, play Death Knell Berserker. The main idea with Elderfang Disciple and similar cards like Ravenous Rats and stuff like that is you want to cast it when your opponent stops playing lands because then you know they're discarding a non-land spell. Okay, play a Swamp because that lets us play both of our elves this turn. Go to combat, attack for 2. Opponent takes 2, goes to 18. Play Elderfang Disciple. Opponent has to discard. They discard a Roots of Wisdom. Okay, play Duskwielder. Pass the turn. Opponent plays another Port of Carfell. We untap. We draw Crippling Fear. Play a Forest. Go to combat. Attack. Go ahead and boast. Not playing anything else this turn, so just pass. Opponent goes down to 13. And they scoop it up because they don't draw green. Alright. I will see you all in round 3. Alright. Round 3, here we go. I would like to play first. I mean, this hand's got potential. We've got some good removal. We have a little bit of dig for potentially a good creature. This would be sad if we milled our Planeswalker, though. Play a Swamp. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Swamp. We untap. Draw Replicating Ring. So play a Swamp because we can hide the fact that we're playing green mana for a moment. Play Elderfang Disciple. Make our opponent discard. They discard a Koma's Faithful, which is a 3-mana 3/1 with lifelink. And they foretell a card. We untap. We draw Elderleaf Mentor. So play a Forest, play Replicating Ring, go to combat, attack for 1. Man, Replicating Ring seems like it'd be fun to build in a janky Time Warps list, because you could use it with like mechanized production to just win off the fact that you have 5 artifacts or whatever named the same. We draw a Forest, play a Forest. I think we play Elderleaf Mentor here. I don't think I just like fire off Feed the Serpent. My opponent potentially has like much higher power level cards. Pass the turn. If they don't play another creature, then yeah, we'll Feed the Serpent. Or, I mean, if they attack and leave themselves open, and just play like a single blocker that's pretty high target value. Inga Runize. When you enter the battlefield, scry 3. When it dies, draw 3 cards if 3 or more creatures died this turn. Yeah, well, we can exile it, and then it just won't die. It'll get exiled instead. Okay. We untap, Replicating Ring ticks up, we draw Forest. So let's Roots of Wisdom, see what we mill. 2 good removal spells, and we get a Snow Swamp. Play the Snow Swamp. Pass the turn. No attacks. Opponent draws a Swamp. Goes to combat. Attacks for 3. This is fine. We go down to 17. Okay. Let's try feeding Inga to the Serpent. Tegrid Shadow. Wow, that sucks. So opponent gets to draw 3 cards. Or Tergrid. I keep saying Tegrid, but it's Tergrid. Opponent gets to draw 3 cards. That's absurd. I should have just done it at sorcery speed. Ugh. Wow. Alright, Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw Elderleaf Mentor. Play a Forest. Play Elderleaf Mentor. Hit them for 3. Take them to 16. And they untap. Just F6, because we can't do anything right now. Opponent foretells a card. Hopefully it's not another Tergrid Shadow. Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw Shimmer Drift Veil. I'm going to hold that just in case my opponent has a non-targeted discard card. We shouldn't need any more mana than we already have. Attack for 7. Opponent feeds the Serpent to exile a 3/2, and then takes 4. They go down to 12. Man, we cannot draw our Planeswalker. I mean, he would have gotten exiled had we drawn him, but... Skull Raid. Opponent discards 2 cards. Well, they got our Feed the Serpent. At least they don't draw any cards. Card seems good. Opponent plays a Draugr Thought Thief. They look at our deck. They get to Fate Seal us. They mill Skemfar Elderhall. Okay. We untap. Replicating Ring up to 5. We draw Swamp. Alright, pass the turn. Another Draugr Thought Thief. That's not fair. You can't just Fate Seal every turn. What are you, Jace the Mind Sculptor? Opponent gets rid of another action card. Attacks us for 3. We take 3 and go to 14. Come on, Tyvar Kell. Nope. Elderleaf Mentor's not bad, though. Go to combat. We'll attack for 3. Opponent chumps, sure. Or trades, I guess, not chumps, but... Play the Mentor. Make another elf. Pass the turn. What the hell? It's just... Opponent's playing Jace the Mind Sculptor over there. No! I needed that Toski! How dare you! Give me a Raise the Draugr, please. Jarl of the Forsaken. Alright. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. Opponent trades and blocks. Takes 1. Cast Jarl of the Forsaken. Kill the other Draugr Thought Thief. Now watch my opponent do the Raise the Draugr and then just Thought Thief us 2 more times. We're about to get more mana than we could ever possibly need. This card is basically a strictly better Mana Leaf. Manalith. Mana Leaf? What the heck's a Mana Leaf? Alright. Oh, you mean these rings don't replicate too? Okay. We draw Raise the Draugr. So we can get Toski or Elderleaf Mentors. I'm gonna get Toski. I want to draw more cards. My opponent could have a Destroy board wipe. Well, whatever we draw, we will be able to play. Unbelievable. Go to combat, hit our opponent for 4. I should have just gone with the Elderleaf Mentors. But I had the Squirrel greed. Hit our opponent down to 7. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Cosmos Elixir and starts gaining life. We untap and draw a land, because apparently that's all we're allowed to draw this game. Go to combat, hit our opponent for 4. So right now we're only netting 2 damage every turn. Okay. We draw Finn the Fangbearer. So go to combat. Attack for 4. Hit our opponent down to 3. And by playing Finn, we represent lethal. I'm going to play out the swamp. I just don't want to look at it in my hand anymore. If my opponent has a Skull Raid, it's going to be a divination, but... Nice! Okay. Is there anything we can do here that we should be doing? I don't think so. I think we just run it back. Alright. This hand is not good. This hand is marginally better. We're putting back Death Knell Berserker. So on turn 2 we'll be foretelling Poison the Cup. Turn 3 we'll be playing Replicating Ring. Star Forest, pass the turn. Hopefully Herald gets us pretty decent top decks. Opponent plays a Karfell Harbinger. We draw Finn. I'm actually going to lead with Finn now. Because if we can play like Finn, draw Swamp, play Herald, and then play Toski, that is a much more proactive hand. Opponent plays a Koma's Faithful. We untap. Draw Forest. We'll play the Snow Forest. Play the Replicating Ring. Pass the turn. I'm not going to attack into a 3-1. It'd kind of be a waste of the Death Touch guy. Opponent attacks us for 3. No blocks. Take 3, they gain 3. Opponent plays a Cosmos Elixir and starts drawing cards. Alright, Replicating Ring starts ticking up. We draw Crippling Fear. So Zombie Wizard, Elf Cleric. Play a Forest. And we're going to play Toski and see if our opponent is willing to block or not. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Okay. So our opponent takes a damage. They take some poison. We draw a card. It's a swamp. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play an island. Play a Bergstrider. When Bergstrider enters the battlefield, tap target artifact or creature an opponent controls. If snow permanent mana was spent to cast this, it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Wow. Alright. Counter on Replicating Ring. We draw Elderleaf Mentor. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack with Toski because we must. Okay, opponent blocks with a 1/3. That's reasonable. If they blocked with Bergstrider, we would cast Crippling Fear this turn. So play Herald. Get Tyvar Kell. Oh, I can't play Elderleaf Mentor. So in that case, foretell a card. Pass the turn. Opponent's Skull Raid. They're going to make us discard 2 cards. So we discard Elderleaf Mentor and Crippling Fear. And then they play Ascendant Spirit. This is kind of a huge annoyance. We draw Jarl of the Forsaken. So we can play Jarl of the Forsaken and we can play Poison the Cup. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. Okay, opponent blocks there, blocks there, blocks there, and trades. Assign blocking order by dragging left or right. That's fine. So foretell to kill the Bergstrider. Lands to the bottom, we don't need them right now. So Ascendant Spirit dies. Finn the Fangbearer dies. We each mill 3 cards. Oh, maybe I should have kept the lands on top because of that. We mill Duskwielder, Way Down, and Roots of Wisdom. Then we can play Jarl of the Forsaken. Oh, actually, my opponent has, what is it called? Tergrid's Shadow or whatever? So we're going to play Tyvar Kell here. We can either untap Herald or make a token. And I think we just make a token. My opponent can attack Tyvar Kell and do 1 damage to him, that's fine. If they cast Tergrid's Shadow, we keep Toski. Okay, they feed Tyvar Kell to the Serpent. We untap. We draw Forest. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. Herald has Menace. Okay, they're going to trade with the elf, or they're going to, yeah, they are going to trade because we have Jarl, but we get to draw 2 cards first. King Harold's Revenge, raise the Draugr. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to sorcery speed this. Kill Karfell Harbinger. Play a forest, pass the turn. I can pick up 2 elves from the grave, so probably just do that on my opponent's end step. They play Inga Runize. Okay. We get to go scrying. They play a tap land, and then they pass. So we return Duskwielder and Elderleaf Mentor. To our hand. Opponent gets to draw a card. We untap. We draw Skemfar Elderhall. So play that. Play Duskwielder. And I can't play Elderleaf Mentor and King Harold's Revenge, and I really want Inga Runize to die right now. So I'm going to go with King Harold's Revenge onto... I think Toski is fine. They don't have enough mana to like feed the Serpent, and he's indestructible, so... Go to combat. Attack with everybody who can. Okay, opponent chumps. Demonic Gifts. Well, I'm glad I picked that one. We still get to trample over and draw a bunch of cards, though. So they get Inga Runize back. We get to go scrying. We get a Sorulf's Packmate and a Struggle for Skemfar. So we're going to foretell and pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays a Bergstrider, tapping our creature with Menace. And probably foretells the Tergrid's Shadow card. We untap, draw Swamp. So play a land. Let me think about this. We have 9 mana. We have a fight spell that costs 4, a wolf that costs 2. I can play the wolf and I can fight Inga. That draws me a card. I can activate Skemfar Elderhall to turn Inga into a 1/1. Let's start with the wolf and see what we draw. Another Elderleaf Mentor. Kill Inga. Go to combat. Attack with everybody who can, because we need to get ahead of our opponent and card advantage. Opponent kills the 3/2. That's reasonable. Actually, no sense in boasting right now. I don't know what we could draw, but the possibility exists for us to draw something that I've forgotten. Okay. We can't cast anything in our hand, so let's just boast. Next turn we can play multiple Elderleaf Mentors, which is kind of cool. Opponent casts a Glimpse the Cosmos from the grave. They play an Augury Raven. Foretell another card. They pass the turn and they gain 2 life. We untap. We draw an Elderfang Disciple. Play a Swamp. Make our opponent discard their last card in hand, which is probably a stupid Feed the Serpent, but, I mean, at least this way we'll know. It is, and they're going to take out our 4/4. That sucks. Okay. Well, let's just play 2 Elderleaf Mentors and pass. Is Toski a May? No, it is not. So we have to be careful not to draw our whole deck. Even though at this point we could probably play our whole deck. Alright, go to combat. Attack with everybody. King Harold has Menace. So they don't block him, they take 3. We lose our Duskfang Disciple. We get to draw a card. It's a Guardian Gladewalker. Opponent plays a Draugr Thought Thief. They do have 1 Foretold card, and they mill a Feed the Serpent. That sucks. That was one of the cards we were kind of hoping we would draw. We untap. Man, Moto is not having fun right now. Okay. We draw a land. We get a bunch of Replicating Ring stuff. Play Guardian Gladewalker. Put a counter on Herald. Activate Skemfar Elderhall. Kill Draugr Thought Thief. Get some more tokens. Play a land. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. Man, Toski's actually doing us a disservice at this point. That sucks. Opponent flashes in a Jarl of the Forsaken that they had foretold. Just to have another blocker. Okay, they block the 3/2, they block a 1/1, they block a 1/1, and then they take 9 damage. We draw 4 cards. Okay. We draw Feed the Serpent and a Death Knell Berserker. So play Elderfang Mentor, or Elderleaf Mentor. Play Death Knell Berserker. Pass the turn and leave up Feed the Serpent. Man, I'm going to have to restart the client. I think if this goes to match 3, I think since we lost match 1... did we lose match 1? I don't remember. I think we lost. It's been so long, my brain is so taxed. Oh no, we won the match. Sweet. See you guys in round 4. I'm in the middle of restarting the client, but I like how the sometimes it's okay to take draft advice from a squirrel is. That's great. Alrighty, here we go, round 4. So we lost the die roll. We will be probably on the draw. Sand is a little bit slow, and we're kind of an aggro deck. But we've got good cards in it, I'll try keeping. And all we have to do is draw, like, some of our early game and we'll be fine. Volatile Fjord. Play Skemfar Elderhall, so we can at least play Roots of Wisdom here. Hopefully we can get an elf card. Opponent plays a Forest. 2 mana. They foretell a card. We untap. We draw Elderfang Disciple, which is a reasonable play on turn 2. Just tax our opponent's hand, because they just foretold a card, so there's 1 less card they could discard. Man, there's so many games we've actually played Replicating Ring on turn 3 and gotten it all the way to 8. Opponent discards a Skull Raid, which is probably good for us. They play a Scorn Effigy and foretold a different card. Sneaky. We draw Duskwielder, so play a Swamp, play Replicating Ring, and then play Duskwielder. Pass the turn. Next turn we can Jarl of the Forsaken to kill whatever they block with, which is probably Scorn Effigy. Scorn Effigy. Effigy? I can't English anymore. It's so bad. Okay, opponent plays a Serulf's Packmate, and then an island. We untap. Replicating Ring taken out. We draw Feed the Serpent. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent does not block. Interesting. So played a land this turn. I don't really want to foretell. I'm just gonna hold up Feed the Serpent, I think. Oh, I should have boasted there. I didn't boast. Opponent goes to combat. They attack for 5. Feed the Serpent. Okay, we take 2. Go down to 16. Opponent plays a Path to the World Tree. Getting a swamp. Plays the swamp. Foretells a card. We untap. Replicating Ring ticking up. We get a Raise the Draugr. So I think we're going to foretell the Jarl. Roots of Wisdom. Gonna pick up the swamp here. And play the swamp so that I can cast the Jarl of the Forsaken if we'd like. Hit them for 2. Really hoping my opponent doesn't have another Skull Raid. I don't really think that's a card you could play in multiples, but if you can, and if they did, we could be in real trouble. Opponent attacks us for 2, sure. Take 2. Opponent plays a Glittering Frost and an Augury Raven, sure. So flash in Jarl of the Forsaken. We untap, Replicating Ring ticking up, draw an Elderleaf Mentor, feed the Augury Raven to the Serpent, go to combat, attack, and we'll go ahead and boast. Hit our opponent for 5, take them down to 10. Yeah, we really are hoping they do not have another Skull Raid. Opponent plays a Draugr Necromancer. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card with an ice counter on it. You may cast spells from among exile your opponent's control or your opponent's own with ice counters on them. Blizzard Brawl. They just killed Jarl of the Forsaken. Well then, that is annoying and unfortunate. Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw a swamp. Play a swamp. Play Elderleaf Mentor. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. So my opponent can cast a Jarl of the Forsaken at basically any given time. We have to be careful what we allow to die if we have an option. Okay, opponent plays an Avalanche Caller. And then they pass. Okay, we're going to pick up Herald. We untap. Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw Tyvar-Kel. Play Tyvar-Kel. Make an elf. Pass the turn. No attacks. It's too bad we don't have a big mana sink for this. Because with enough elves out, he's basically a ritual. Okay, opponent flashes in the Jarl, so we don't have to worry about that being used as removal. Okay, opponent animates a land, swings everything at Tyvar-Kel. So, Chump. Tyvar can take 2 and go to 1. Okay, opponent plays a land and plays a not Vold Recluse. We untap, Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw Swamp. So, make an elf. Play a Swamp. Activate Skemfar Elderhall to kill not Vold Recluse. Get more elves. Pass the turn. This is so awkward. My opponent's creatures are way better. This Necromancer is insane if you cannot answer it. This card is also really good if you have enough snowlands to just like repeatedly start animating them and just make more attackers every turn. Like, it's just nuts. Path to the World Tree. They make a bear. Play a swamp. They have a lot of snowlands. They attack and attack. They don't want to risk their other creatures, so we chump and then double block. But like my repeatable value engine, which is a freaking planeswalker, feels way worse than theirs. It's just nuts. Okay, we untap, replicating ring up to 7. We draw Death Knell Berserker. So green, black, black. Play Herald. Herald completely whiffs. Play Death Knell Berserker. Make an elf. Pass the turn. Oh, that's so bad. Why is that so bad? Alright, opponent plays a land. They could just make like 3 snowland creatures and just swing out at us, and we would have to block. Trading is terrible because trading gives them creatures. They just replay our creatures. Because how do we answer this stupid Necromancer? We've already used both Feed the Serpents. We have one more hard kill spell. Opponent plays Herald. Plays a Masked Vandal. Why? We were one counter away from getting our Replicating Ring. How dare you? That's so rude. Yup, there's our other creature. And they play a Funeral Longboat. Okay, where the hell are my forests? Oh, that was disgusting. Yeah, I don't really have anything I can do about that Necromancer other than what's already in my deck. I could play Tegrid's Shadow, or Turgrid. Alright. I'll play first. This hand is... well, I mean, it's playable. We gotta have some really good top decks, though. So start with Shimmerdrift Veil, named Black. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Snow Swamp. Throne of Death. So they have Egon in their deck. Wow. Okay. We draw a Snow Swamp. Play a Forest. Elderfang Disciple. Make our opponent discard. Opponent discards a Snow Swamp. Mills a Serulf's Packmate. Plays a Forest. Foretells a card. We untap. We draw King Harold's Revenge. Play a Snow Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Pass the turn. Opponent mills a card on their upkeep. It's Feed the Serpent. They play Yorn. Opponent's deck is stacked. Jeez. Okay, we untap. We draw Tyvar Kell. Play a Forest. Play Mr. Tyvar here. Make an elf. Pass the turn. Whenever he attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. I didn't even realize he had text. Oh my god. Attacks all out at Tyvar. Chump and chump. My opponent is Turgrid! What is this not? My opponent is just like 4-color gods. What the hell kind of deck is this? Oh my god, okay. Sealed is a stupid format. I mean, like, you're gonna run into this occasionally where someone's just like, yeah, I opened up 6 rares, and my foil slots had 6 mythics, and it's just like, what? Alright, we draw Jarl of the Forsaken, make an elf, weigh down Yorn, play a swamp, pass the turn. Now we can block with the Elf Warrior, and then flash in the Jarl to kill the Scorn Effigy. This card's actually not bad for what it is. When it goes to combat, attacks, we chump. Scorn Effigy takes a damage. Opponent's going to draw an extra card. Flash in Jarl of the Forsaken. Kill Scorn Effigy. They draw a card. They pass. We untap. We draw a Replicating Ring. Make an elf. Play Replicating Ring. Play a land. Go to combat. Attack for 3. I mean, at best, he's really just a 4-mana Bitter Blossom that's attackable and killable, which kind of negates the usefulness of him being a Bitter Blossom. I mean, I guess he's elf-flavored, so maybe he's not exactly bitter. Ha, that was a pun. Did you see what I did with that pun? Alright, we untap. Replicating Ring. We draw. Forest. So, make an elf. King Harold's Revenge. Get this up to 5 toughness. Go to combat. Attack for a lot. Opponent has to block there. We trample over for a lot. Then we'll play a land. Pass the turn. Maybe I should have kept that hand. I kept that land in hand in case my opponent had a Skull Raid. That way they don't draw any cards. Oh, they draw 1 less card anyway. Well, my opponent already has the equivalent of a Phyrexian Arena where they're just drawing cards every turn. Pilfering Hawk. Opponent draws another card. So they have 1, 2, 3 gods so far. Alright, Replicating Ring ticking up. We draw Death Knell Berserker. So go to combat. Attack for 5. Opponent goes down to 6. Play Death Knell Berserker. And just in case they have a board wipe or something, we're going to pump Death Knell Berserker. Pass the turn. Opponent mills Funeral Longboat. Opponent exiles Pilfering Hawk to draw a card. Plays a Jaspera Sentinel. Plays a Forest. Then they pass. We untap. Replicating Ring ticks up. We draw a Poison the Cup. Uptick on an Elf Warrior. So now my opponent has to block a 3-2 or they lose. Yep. Actually, we could just Poison the Cup, and then what would they do? Alright, moving on to the final game here of this match. Maybe I should be playing the 6-mana 6/6 just to have a good piece of top end. But I don't think I'm gonna. Let's run it back. Alright, I mean, I guess this is a keep. It's kind of a slow keep, but I mean, why not, right? I'm thinking we're just gonna play the Elven Bow as a equipment on turn 1. Okay, opponent starts tap land. They did mulligan to 6. We draw Toski. Yeah, we're gonna play out the equipment. Not gonna pay 2 for it. Okay, opponent's turn. Opponent plays a Path to the World Tree, so they're going to go fix their mana a little bit. It's an island. We untap. We draw a Feed the Serpent, which is slightly comforting, knowing how many gods my opponent's deck has. We're going to foretell a Serulf's Packmate. Opponent plays an Avalanche Caller, and then plays a tap land. We untap. We draw Swamp. So, Serulf's Packmate, we're going to see what we draw here. It's a Guardian Gladewalker. Play a Swamp, pass the turn. Okay, they play a Pilfering Hawk and a Glittering Frost. We untap. We draw Crippling Fear. I think this is as good of a place as any to use Crippling Fear because we can kill Avalanche Caller, which is kind of a huge deal. So we'll say Crippling Fear and Cry Wolf. Go to combat. Hit them for 3. Next turn we have a huge number of choices. We can play, we can play Toski, we can play Elderleaf Mentor, we can foretell Jarl and cast Gladewalker. Opponent foretells a card. Okay. We draw Herald. Play Guardian Gladewalker because I'm convinced my opponent may have just foretold Jarl. So I want to be able to attack past a 3-2 with Flash. Hit them for 4. And then we will foretell our Jarl here. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. 4 mana. They play a Draugr Recruiter, which is a 3-3 that they can boast if they attack with it. Okay. We draw Forest. Play a Forest. Go to combat. My opponent has no cards in hand. They have 1 card foretold. Go to combat. We're going to attack with both of our creatures. Okay. Opponent changes their mind. Okay. So, what I'm going to do now is just Feed the Serpent. I do not want them buying back any of their creatures at any price. We're going to win this by having more cards than them, basically. 5 mana. Opponent plays Turgid, God of Fright, which is a 4-5 with Menace. We untap. Draw Struggle for Skemfar, which is amazing. So what we can do here is we can actually just fight Temfar, or fight Turgid. And as long as my opponent doesn't have something that's a complete blowout foretold here, we're good. Oh my gosh, do they? Green-blue, Mammoth Growth. That's a problem. Okay. Well then. And we are 1 mana away from being able to counter that. Alright, pass the turn. So opponent untaps. They raise the Draugr, picking up a card, which is their Avalanche Caller. They animate a land. They attack us for 8. We take 8. Untap. Draw a forest. Play a forest. Play Toski. Go to combat. Attack for 1. We have to kill this Avalanche Caller because it's so brutal if we don't. Alright. That's a little bit of a problem, but we get to draw a card. Replicating Ring, unfortunately not useful here. Toski should be able to block at least once, meaning we could kill Turgrid, which could make a big difference. No, we can't, because we can't block Turgrid. So we have to block the land if my opponent animates a land. Okay, they animate a swamp. Opponent is doing a lot of thinking. Okay, they just animate 1 land. They go to combat. They attack us for 4. Okay. So I think what they have is a Feed the Serpent, and they realize they animated the wrong land. We take 4, go to 8. Opponent plays another swamp. I don't know what my opponent did, but they messed up there. Flash in a 3/2, because we're going to need it. Untap. We draw way down. Okay. So way down the Avalanche Caller. Exiling Serulf's Packman. We don't really need our opponent's exile zone out now. They're going to animate a bunch of creatures to have blockers this turn. That doesn't really matter to us. We have to attack with Toski. There's no reason to attack with anything else. We have 5 mana currently, so I think our best bet is to play Elderleaf Mentor here. Just have the most amount of blockers available in case our opponent wants to attack with Turgrid. Toski has to attack because he has to. Opponent just blocks. Okay. They untap. Well, they drew something they can cast. Blizzard Brawl, killing Elderleaf Mentor. They attack with an indestructible Turgrid, so we are going to block and block. Actually, hang on. This is only 5 damage. We currently are representing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage exactly. Yeah, there's no way we block. We take 5, go to 3. Can my opponent activate this? That's something I didn't take into account. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can. So they can make us lose down to 1 life if we go all in and attack. Okay, we draw King Harold's Revenge. That does change the combat math. So play Herald. We dig. We don't have enough mana to do King Harold's Revenge plus anything else, so we'll just take a random Duskwielder. King Harold's Revenge. We'll put it on Toski. Because he's indestructible. Go to combat, kill our opponent. So even if my opponent activates Path to the World Tree here, we still have them. Nice. That was a really, really clutch top deck. We're 3-1 going into round 4. If we win next round... Jeez, that's loud. If we win next round, we can get 240 play points and 3 Kaldheim boosters, which would be awesome. So I'll see you guys in round 5. Alrighty, round 5. Here we go. We cannot keep a hand with 1 land when we like curve out at 4 all the time. I can keep this though, even though it's a bit slow, simply because we can foretell. So start Snow Swamp, pass the turn. Opponent starts Ice Tunnel. We draw a Struggle for Skemfar, so foretell the Jarl, pass the turn. Okay, we draw a land. Opponent made a 2/1 Dwarf Berserker. Well, that's annoying. We're going to foretell another card. Pass the turn. So my opponent, like, this card actually looks pretty good, just being able to turn 2, play a 2/1, turn 3, make a 2/1 by attacking. That's pretty good. Okay, we untap, we draw a swamp, play a swamp. I'm going to go ahead and just do this now. I don't want my opponent continually making more tokens. Opponent plays a Immerstern Skullcairn. We untap, draw a forest, play a swamp, pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat, they attack for 2. No blocks. Kind of hoping they play something here. Okay. We're going to flash in the Jarl of the Forsaken. Untap. We draw Death Knell Berserker. Play a forest, go to combat, attack for 3. Opponent does not block. Play Death Knell Berserker, and we're going to have the Berserker fight, because having the 1/1 counter on the Berserker is slightly more beneficial than having it on the Jarl. I know we technically like missed a damage, but my opponent could have had a pump spell. They could have a the stupid demon +2/+0 and it revives when it dies ability. I guess they feed the serpent here. Okay. Well, we get to keep our more profit. They can't have the revive thing. I just realized this is a token. I'm distracted by something else right now. So. Alright, we take 2. My opponent might activate the Immerstern Skullcairn here. Okay. We discard a forest. It's not a big deal. We untap. We're definitely losing the race right now. Opponent plays a tap land. We draw an Elderleaf Mentor. So go to combat, attack for 3. I have to say that even, like, you know, whether or not you like Snowland, or like the mechanic, or if you think it's parasitic, or if it's just like strictly better basics and whatnot, I have to say that these tapped fetchable duels are some of the prettiest lands I've seen in a long time. Oh man, okay, so opponent has Crush the Weak. We lose our whole board. We draw a useless mana rock, pass the turn. Well, I'd like to draw my Planeswalker while nothing is happening on board. I feel like that would be best. Opponent plays a 5-mana 5/5, which we are going to have a huge amount of trouble trying to deal with. Well, we drew the Planeswalker. The problem is he's going to be gaining like no value right now. He's just making chump blockers for himself. So now we need to draw some of our other creatures. Alright, so our opponent untaps. Why would you exile the token and not the Planeswalker? Why wouldn't you just exile the Planeswalker and attack? We draw Herald. How you doing, Herald? Play Herald. Go digging. I feel bad because my deck literally can't beat a 5/5. Like, oh, we just dumped Toski to the bottom. Play Duskwielder. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. The worst part is right now if they attack, I don't think I can block. I think I just have to take the damage. Yep. Go to 4. Opponent plays a Bloodsky Berserker into a Wither Crown. I'm pretty sure we've lost. We will not sack Herald because we need him to block. We draw Way Down. Oh, I don't have any creatures in the grave. I can't Way Down. Alright. Concede. Yep. So, I think we just run it back. Alright, we'll play first. It's kind of a slow hand again, but we have all the mana we could need, so I'm gonna keep this. I'll play Elven Bow on 3, Elderleaf Mentor on 4. Start Forest, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mountain. We draw Way Down, play a Swamp, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swamp into a Fearless Liberator. We draw an Elderfang Disciple. Play a Forest. Play Elven Bow. Pay 2. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Swamp. Sees the Spoils. Discards a card, makes a treasure. We untap and draw Duskwielder. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent goes down to 18. Play Elderleaf Mentor. So, like, Fearless Liberator appears to be something that's really, really strong when you're on the play, and a little bit medium when you're on the draw. Simply because odds that your opponent plays something by, you know, turn 2 is, like, it's kind of minimal, because a lot of decks are encouraged to foretell in this format. But the odds that they play something on turn 3 is pretty high, especially with cost reduction from foretell, so... Opponent plays a Axeguard Armory. Okay. We untap. We draw Toski. Play Toski. Go to combat. Attack for 6. Okay, opponent feeds Toski to the Serpent, which is actually quite reasonable here. It's one of the only reasons that... Like, I'm glad they printed this card, because I like seeing strong removal at common in formats. I think it makes games more fun. Opponent boasts. We untap. We draw a Snow-Covered Forest. So, go to combat. Swing out. I could have moved the Elven Bow over to the creature, but I didn't want to because I want to weigh down this turn. Because a repeatable source of tokens is not the kind of card I want my opponent to have. Then I'm going to play Elderfang Disciple and force my opponent to discard. And I think I'm going to hold on to this forest this turn because of the abundance of Mine Rot effects we're seeing in this format. Because I really want to hold on to Feed the Serpent. And if my opponent has Skull Rend, or whatever it's called, I'm going to discard Dusk Wielder and Snow-Covered Forest. We basically curve out at 4, so we're only denying ourselves the ability to potentially like play a land and play Dusk Wielder if we have to do something like Feed the Serpent. Like something that requires double black, I mean. Something has activated the Dachshund again. Opponent plays Carter Doomscourge. Enters battlefield. Until next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever an attacking creature dies, its opponent controls... Opponent loses 1 life. Okay. Feed him to the Serpent. Play Elder Hall. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. Opponent goes down to 5. Next turn we can actually activate the Elder Hall as removal. Opponent casts Blood on the Snow. Okay. Alright, we draw Swamp. Play Swamp. Activate the Elder Hall, kill the Liberator. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a land. They play a Cinderheart Giant. Okay, that's really intimidating. We draw a Swamp. Play a Swamp. Play Dusk Wielder. Suit up a Dork. Pass the turn. I got a really good, strong feeling we're gonna die here. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays a Replicating Ring and foretells a card, then passes. We untap. We draw King Harold's Revenge. So this is going to give a creature +3/+3 and must be blocked this turn. Okay. So put it on this elf. We're going to try and sneak in as much damage around this giant as possible, including a 1 life loss with this boast. Then we can kill our opponent with just the boast next turn if our opponent has nothing. So go to combat. But if they like attack and then have a fling, we're just dead. Okay. So drain our opponent for 1. Demon Bolt. Okay, they kill the boaster. They go down to 4, they take 2, go to 2. Alright. That was pretty good, they had removal. So they untap, they draw. And they're casting something here. Well, unless it's a creature or removal spell, they still can't attack. Okay, so Rolf's Packmate is an excellent top deck here. And they're activating Axeguard Armory. I don't think we have any reach. I think that was our best bet at the Gambit, and we lost because our opponent had removal. Another Wither, or a Wither Crown. Alright, well, Wither Crown kind of sucks. We untap. We draw Struggle for Skemfar. Well, we can kill the Squirrel's Packmate and still stop our opponent from attacking, because while Wither Crown does change our creature's base power, the bow and the 1/1 counter are going to keep it still at lethal. Okay, opponent recognizes this. We draw a Swamp, which we're just going to hold for basically Skullrend purposes. Pass the turn. Opponent has 3 cards in hand, and the fact that they're not playing any of them really scares me. Okay, they hit us for 7. We're not going to block. So they have another removal spell or a combat trick. So we're going to go ahead and attack. Feed the Serpent was an amazing top deck here. Okay, opponent feeds the Serpent. So we're going to do the same. Pass the turn. Problem is, now our opponent has a Wither Crown for whatever we happen to draw next. I'd like to draw my Planeswalker. Why does my opponent have 4 cards in hand? They play a Master Skald. I don't think they used its ability, though. So we play Roots of Wisdom. We mill Jarl of the Forsaken, Poison the Cup, and a land. We'll pick up... I think we pick up Duskwielder here. Do we? Yes. Play Duskwielder. Give him a bow. Pass the turn. Because now my opponent has to keep their creature on defense. They're going to play Wither Crown, and we're going to have to start paying life. Or they cast a Demon Bolt and hit us for 4. That's also viable. We untap. We draw Guardian Gladewalker. Alright. Play out the land, even though that's technically a mistake. I get tired of looking at it. I guess. I don't know. Put a counter here. Put the bow on him. Pass the turn. My opponent's deck has a lot of good removal. My opponent does not attack. They play a land. It's unfortunate that we milled our other hard piece of removal. Okay. We draw a land. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Immersturm Skullcairn. We untap. Draw Forest. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent Replicating Ring activates. Moto is lagging so badly. Okay, they attack. No blocks. We're going to take 4 and go to 4. Opponent can activate Immersturm Skullcairn. Do they have 1 more damage? We'll discard a Forest. They play a Grizzled Outrider. We have no more hard removal. And they play Wither Crown. We have to sacrifice this creature? Alright, we do. We draw Crippling Fear, which does not do it. And I believe that brings our league to a close. Well, we'll get a Kaldheim booster pack and 120 play points. So, probably going to do a draft video coming up next. Mixum requested eggs for Mad Meta Magic, so I have to find that list. And that's not going to be for a little bit because of these videos. So until next time, I will see you there. If you like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!